What is going on, guys? The Champ Strider here, and I'm very happy to bring this video to you today because we finally got some communication from the developers on the future of Chivalry 2. And I think most people know that we have a new community manager, Ari, who I've yet to actually communicate with, but I do know that the Chivalry 2 subreddit has been on the absolute warpath about what the community manager actually does, and apparently he's been crafting a Chivalry 2 blog post for us. And before I get into the details, I just want to say this article, it's what us reasonable Chivalry 2 players have been asking for. The developers were honest and upfront with us. They acknowledged feedback from the community, and it was refreshing, honestly. This is what we need from Torn Banner, so let's not ruin the communication lines by harassing them on social media. This blog post, it's a win for the community, so let's encourage the devs to continue doing stuff like this. Alright, let's start with the first item on the list, the recap of patch 2.9, the reclamation of Montcrux, and it was a patch the community did not receive very well, and gotta love the honesty here, but basically what the developers said is they were going for kind of an epic Hollywood-style feeling with this map. I know I've said a few times the map reminds me a lot of the movie Kingdom of Heaven, and the map, visually, it looked pretty nice, but this focus on Hollywood feels led to the gameplay being lackluster. Montcrux is basically just running up a hill where you get stuck on rocks that any human can walk over while being shot by ballistas. The map, it's just not fun, and it lacks any semblance of balance, and in nicer words, the devs acknowledge that the thematic approach hurt the gameplay. They also acknowledged the community backlash on how short the map was. Both Bridgetown and Montcrux, they were just a breeze through, way too short, and they don't plan on making additions to these maps. However, at least they acknowledge this, and hopefully we get maps closer to Lionspire or Rudhelm from here on out. Now, it was a double fail for patch 2.9, but the update, it released with a new weapon, the Siege Crossbow. But here's the thing, the weapon, it doesn't work. It's supposed to be a utility weapon to destroy banners and barricades, and it did that on the test server. However, it has never worked on the live release, and this was never acknowledged by the development team up until now. It's been just complete radio silence, and apparently there were some unintended gameplay outcomes discovered very late in the process of testing that caused the devs to hold off on adding the deployable destruction. I'm happy to finally get an answer on this, but all it would have taken was a tweet a few months ago telling us this and apologizing for the inconvenience. Let's hope this is what we get in the future as far as developer transparency. I think it's always better to address a problem and deal with the backlash than just completely ignore it. Our next point of discussion is going to start with the topic of cheaters, but I'm going to cross into the fact that the developers have also released a code of conduct for the player base. These two things will go kind of hand in hand. I don't see much cheating or poor behavior in North America. We have a great community, honestly, but other regions are not as lucky, and they're just absolute cesspools of toxicity right now. If you go into a European server, and apologies in advance for piling on the EU crowd, but you'll be greeted with racism, sexism, homophobia, you name it, along with cheating, speed hacking, and if you piss someone off enough, they'll come back and DDoS the server so that no one can actually play the game. There are literally clans in the EU, and everyone knows who they are, who openly cheat, and if anyone ever wonders why the EU player base is not thriving to the level of NA, it's because the player base, their behavior is just disgraceful, and all this stuff, it leads to people quitting. Story time, but I was in the Discord of an upcoming medieval slasher, and a prominent EU duelist was banned. The moderator said he was warned 4 times about racism before actually being banned 4 times. What's wrong with the slasher community if it takes 4 warnings before a ban for behavior like this happens? It should be instant, no tolerance. And I said I don't want to pile on the EU crowd too much because I have a bunch of people in my Discord and my community from the EU, and they are absolutely amazing. But unfortunately, a small demographic of people ruins the game for everyone else, and I'm glad to see Torn Banner acknowledging both cheating and player conduct, and hopefully these players are sent back to their parents' basement to play other games. Now, last big issue here talking about the upcoming content teasers, but let's talk about a topic very dear to my heart, and that's team switching. Attacking in Chivalry 2, it's more fun to play than defense. This is demonstrated almost every single game when half the lobby changes to attack, and it forces the defense to get shit stomped for the next 20 minutes. I'm firmly against team switching. The developers, they're working on a hybrid skill-based matchmaking system that's intended to improve upon this issue, and while it won't completely remove stomps, it should make them less of a thing. I'm anti-algorithm based matchmaking like Call of Duty or Apex Legends, so I hope this is just a very small thing that stops people from swapping to attack. From what my understanding of the article said, I think it's just going to be kind of leveling out the actual player level, so it's going to be like a soft matchmaking. Hopefully what this does is just stops like 10 level 500 plus players being on the same team just stomping a bunch of game passers. So we'll see, and it's supposed to be coming soon. Now, this blog did tease a new free-for-all map that's coming in patch 2.10. It's called Frozen Wreck, which it seems to reuse the ice from Thayek Stronghold to make a battlefield where the ice can break under you while fighting. It's creative. It reminds me of the King Arthur movie. Whether it'll play well is anyone's guess, but I like seeing the developers push out creative ideas. Like even Hippodrome, while it turned out to be a lobby-killing free-for-all disaster, I think the map and the idea, it sounded really cool when conceptualized, so I won't hate on it as I would Bridgetown, which is just a map with no soul. Now, we did get teased some new monk-based cosmetics for those quarterstaff fans, which I'm an arms and armor guy, so not really my cup of tea. But I do want to point out that the skin is in actually light armor or no armor, it's just in monk's clothes. But the quarterstaff is currently on the Crusader, a full plate class, which might mean, don't quote me here, I could be wrong, but it might mean that we're going to get the quarterstaff on either the vanguard or the footman, which is definitely needed to make that weapon more viable. And lastly, let's leave you guys with this sick Messer skin right here. Like, just take my coin straight away. I need this skin. It looks absolutely sick. I love it. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'll be back when we have more updates with the Chivalry 2 news. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe.